The end of that last 5,000-year cycle, those who had come before them, their ancestors, created this map. And it was a map that told them two things. It told them when the cycle ended. It told them what they could expect to happen, big things, landmarks, milestones of time as they would go through. And it would tell them how to think and live both on the inner world as well as the outer world, so they would successfully thrive as they go through the next change. And they tell us that change is the change that we are experiencing right now. So this Hopi map of time has been preserved for a very long time. And they said they preserved it for us, for you and me, so that we can benefit from their wisdom and do it today when we need it the most.
Have you ever felt like time is speeding up, like a stream turning into a raging river? This sensation might be more than just a feeling. An ancient shamanic prophecy predicts that time will accelerate greatly. But what does this mean for humanity, and how can we prepare for this cosmic transformation? The acceleration of time is a phenomenon that has caught the attention of various cultures around the world. In addition to the shamanic prophecy, other traditions also speak about the acceleration of time and its impact on human consciousness. This perception might be related to cosmic influences affecting our body and mind. Are we prepared to deal with the changes this transformation might bring? In this video, we will explore these questions and provide strategies to navigate these turbulent times, emphasizing the importance of inner calm and the elevation of consciousness. The Hopi elders, a Native American tribe known for their profound spiritual insights, shared a vision in 2000. It describes a river flowing very rapidly, symbolizing the fast-paced changes and turbulence of the current era. This vision aligns with the Hermetic Principle of Correspondence, known for its phrase, "as above, so below." Just as the cosmos might be experiencing an acceleration, our perception of time on Earth reflects this change. This image evokes the feeling that time is passing faster than ever, dragging everything in its path. The prophecy warns that there will be those who feel fear in the face of this acceleration and try to cling to the banks, resisting the transformations. Our minds are not passive observers in this process. By consciously choosing to adapt and evolve with the changing tides of time, letting go of the banks, we can navigate this transformation more effectively, aligning with the Hermetic principle of the all is mind, mentalism. However, the Hopi elders emphasize the importance of letting go of the shore, surrendering to the flow, and embracing the journey together. This advice highlights the relevance of community and mutual support during these times of rapid change.
So what is this map of time telling us? And what you see is that I've traced out two paths. And what the Hopi say is at the end of the last cycle, the people of this world were given the opportunity to walk two paths that would carry them to the end of their time into the next cycle where we are right now. If you look at the upper path, for example, there are people there, people living on the upper path. Their heads are not connected to their bodies. And what the Hopi elders say is that these are the people who live in this time, people that walk that path that do not know themselves. Their heads are not connected to their bodies because they don't know who they are. They've lost themselves.
In parallel to Hopi belief, the Hermetic principle of vibration suggests that the rapid changes might be reflected in a shift in the fundamental vibration of the universe, influencing our perception of time. Furthermore, the prophecy suggests that the time of the lone wolf is over, indicating that it is essential to come together and celebrate with those around us. The Hopi stress that nothing should be taken personally and that everything we do now should be done in a sacred manner and in celebration. The Hermetic principle of polarity suggests finding the balance between two polarities, letting go, feminine energy, and taking responsibility for our lives, masculine energy, during this time of change. The Hopi message emphasizes this balance, suggesting that by approaching this time with a spirit of celebration and community, we can collectively create a more positive experience of the transformation, as highlighted by the Hermetic principle of cause and effect. This perspective invites us to adopt an attitude of acceptance and gratitude in the face of transformations, recognizing that we are part of a larger process of cosmic evolution. The metaphor of the raging river can also be interpreted as a call to connect with our deepest essence, just as a river follows its natural course towards the ocean. Similar to the Hopi, the Hermetic Principle of rhythm, everything flows in and out, teaches that change is a natural rhythm of the universe. Accepting this principle allows us to navigate the current phase of acceleration with more grace. The prophecy encourages us to flow with the changes, keeping our eyes open and our heads above water. This implies cultivating awareness and presence, being attentive to the signs and opportunities that arise amidst the turbulence. The Hopi belief parallels the Hermetic Principle of mentalism, the all is mind, states that a clear and focused mind, cultivated through practices like meditation, is better equipped to handle the influx of information and rapid changes associated with time acceleration. At the core of the shamanic prophecy is the message that we are the ones we have been waiting for. Instead of looking for leaders or external answers, we are encouraged to look within, to create our communities, and to take responsibility for our lives. This empowering vision reminds us of our innate potential to navigate the turbulent waters of change and emerge transformed. In harmony with the Hopi view, the Hermetic Principle of mentalism suggests that our inner strength and ability to navigate change come from within. By taking responsibility for our lives and cultivating our inner resources, we empower ourselves to thrive during this transformation. The acceleration of time, as described in the shamanic prophecy, is not just an external phenomenon, but also a reflection of our own expanding consciousness. As we open ourselves to cosmic influences and elevate our understanding, time seems to compress, revealing the interconnectedness of all things. This expanded perception invites us to question our preconceived notions about reality and embrace a more fluid and multidimensional view of existence.
So right off, we're seeing a distinction between these two paths. Now, there is a third path as well that may not be as evident. I'm going to trace it out for you on your screen. It's the green vertical line that connects the two existing paths. That line, the Hopi say, marks a point in time that they call the point of no return. And for them, that point of no return was the year 1998. In 1998, the Hopi sent the eldest elder of the Hopi nation to the United Nations to deliver the message that this map has left for the people of the earth. And what he said is, in 1998, that we are now living this moment in the map of time, the point of no return, that while in the past, it's always been possible to choose between the upper and the lower path. And truthfully, we can always choose. From 1998 on, it becomes much more difficult to choose. So that was the time, that was the warning, that was the message that was delivered to the United Nations by the Hopi Nation in 1998.
Just as the cosmos expands, our consciousness can expand as well. This expanded awareness mirrors the changes happening on a grander scale, as above, so below, as within, so without.
A recent elder who shared this wisdom with us today. What he said is this: the qualities of both of these paths, the upper path, he said the people that walk the upper path, they live in the world of comfort, greed, and profit. And I looked at that and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Profit, especially. I said, does that mean that we shouldn't make money? Does that mean profit is a bad thing? He said, no. It's not that kind of profit. It's not about money. He said, this is the kind of profit where one person or a group of people benefit at the expense and the suffering of another. Whenever we do better at the expense of someone else hurting or doing worse, that's the kind of profit that is on the path that leads nowhere. It's the path that ends abruptly. It's a path that cannot possibly carry us through our time of extremes because it is not a sustainable path. And I said, well, what is this lower path all about? What are the qualities of the lower path? The lower path, and probably is no surprise to you, is based upon a different kind of quality: love, strength, and balance. Love, strength, and balance. And if you look closely at each of these qualities, what you'll find is that comfort, greed, profit, those are things that we do in the world. Love, strength, and balance, those are things that we become in our lives. And this is the essence of many of the indigenous traditions, including the Hopi, many of the ancient traditions, and now what you know from quantum physics, from the hologram, from entanglement, from the photon experiments, all the things that we have talked about, it all boils down to this simple principle. We must become in our lives the things that we choose to experience in our world.
In shamanism, cosmic influences are often associated with the vital energy that permeates all of creation. Shamans seek to attune themselves to these energies through practices such as spiritual journeys, meditation, and rituals. By doing so, they believe they can access deeper levels of consciousness and gain insights into the nature of existence. As we delve deeper into shamanism, Gregg Braden highlights how cosmic influences impact our beliefs and experiences.
The best science of the modern world is now telling us one of the deepest truths, I believe, that has the greatest impact, the greatest consequence on our world as a whole, on your life and my life individually, was that the fundamental law of nature is based upon competition, conflict, and struggle. And that comes directly from Darwin's ideas that were embraced and not questioned in the late 1800s and early 1900s. It is deeply ingrained as the fabric of our very society. The economic system that's collapsing right now, the way that we're dealing with differences between nations unsuccessfully, the way that we are trying to share resources, food, water, oil, energy, communications, defense. All of these things are based in this idea of survival of the strongest in our time of extremes. As our ideas and what we think about ourselves and our beliefs are being pushed to the limits because the extremes are changing the environment where they've been applied. The ideas have been applied in the past. All those ideas are breaking down. They're not working. They can't work because they're not true. They're based in false assumptions. And this idea of cooperation versus competition, this is key.
This underscores the profound connection between our internal and external realities. In Christianity, the concept of divine grace can be seen as a manifestation of these influences, empowering individuals to transcend their limitations and experience a deeper connection with the divine. Such grace allows us to transcend limitations and connect with higher realms. By opening ourselves to these influences, divine grace, we can experience a positive transformation and a deeper connection to something larger than ourselves, as the Hermetic Principle of cause and effect shows us.
So I want to share this with you. I'm going to take a minute to do this. I think it's important. The best science of the modern world is now telling us that, in fact, the fundamental rule of nature is cooperation and what biologists call mutual aid, not competition in conflict and survival. Now, we all know that competition, conflict, and survival, they're a fact. They happen. We see them all the time. They're not the fundamental rule. And to the degree that we see violence, competition, and conflict, to the degree that we see that happening, what we're actually witnessing is how far we or any population has strayed from the harmony of the deepest truth of nature. It tells us the more violence and conflict we see, it tells us how far we've strayed from the natural laws of this world. And if we believe that we somehow are separate from nature, that we don't have to abide by the fundamental laws of nature that all the forms of life abide by, that is the opening to our demise. We've seen this happen in the past with other civilizations and other cultures. There's a powerful lesson that we can learn from this. And our own science, the best science of the modern world, gives us the reason to change our thinking. We don't have to do it on faith. We don't have to do it on trust because we've asked science to tell us the deep truths of our lives. Now science is revealing those truths. The question is, will we embrace those truths?
Modern science is now revealing these deeper truths. Recent studies in neurotheology have explored the relationship between brain activity and spiritual experiences. Research suggests that the pineal gland, a small structure located in the center of the brain, may mediate these experiences. The pineal gland is known for producing melatonin, a hormone that regulates sleep-wake cycles and has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. This celestial gland, acting as a cosmic receptor, can enhance our spiritual experiences by bridging the gap between our physical and spiritual perceptions when attuned to subtle vibrations.
What they found in the year 2008 made headlines in one of the most prestigious scientific journals. It's called New Scientist. There was an entire issue based upon evolution. Once again, not my words. I want you to hear exactly the words, the conclusions of what this article is saying to us. In an article by Michael LePage, it was entitled Evolution Myths, Survival of the Fittest Justifies Everyone for Themselves, the New Scientist edition, April 2008. What Michael LePage said is this. He said, quote, "What we see in the wild is not every animal out for itself." He said, cooperation is an incredibly successful survival strategy.
This supports the notion of interconnectedness within the universe and the ancient principles in Hermeticism. Beyond its physiological functions, the pineal gland has historically been associated with spirituality and enlightenment. Philosophers and mystics, such as René Descartes, considered the pineal gland as the seat of the soul, suggesting it could serve as a portal to connect with invisible realms. As we attune ourselves to these influences, we open up to inner transformations. Such cooperation is essential for survival and growth. By cultivating practices that expand our consciousness, we open ourselves to these cosmic influences and the potential for profound inner transformation, highlighted by the Hermetic principle of cause and effect.
He said, when cooperation breaks down, the results can be disastrous. End of quote.
This alignment fosters harmony and resilience. Islamic eschatology also addresses the acceleration of time as a sign of the approaching hour, the Day of Judgment. The hadiths, sayings of the Prophet Muhammad, describe a period when a year will feel like a month like a week like a day, and so on. This metaphor indicates both the literal acceleration of time and the decrease in blessing in time, barakah, making life feel more rushed and less fulfilling.
So what Michael LePage is saying in New Scientist, and what the scientific thinking is now that is willing to embrace the facts of what we're seeing along these lines, is that it's not every animal out for themselves.
This shared understanding spans across cultures and traditions. Beyond spiritual prophecies, we can observe signs of time acceleration in our daily lives. The frantic pace of modern society, driven by technological advances and globalization, has contributed to a feeling of time compression. Constant connectivity and the digitization of information have accelerated the flow of information and decision-making, creating continuous pressure to do more in less time.
There is violent competition, but that competition is part of a higher order that we see in the animal kingdom that is actually a form of cooperation.
These observations are supported by scientific insights. Echoing the Hopi wisdom is the Hermetic principle of cause and effect. The choices we make as a society, embracing constant connectivity, can influence our perception of time. By consciously choosing to slow down and disconnect, we can mitigate the feeling of time speeding up.
When we see the weakest of one form of life succumb to other forms of life, that is a cooperative endeavor. It is not animal against animal fighting for the survival of their lives.
By making conscious choices, we can navigate these changes effectively. This acceleration can also be perceived in terms of social and cultural changes. Transformations that once took decades now happen in a matter of years or months. The speed at which trends emerge and disappear, technological innovations become obsolete, and paradigms shift reflects an unprecedented acceleration in the pace of change. The rapid pace of social and cultural changes is evident today.
The same principle now that we're seeing in science. This is science. It's telling us that what we've been thinking about our deepest truth is not necessarily the deepest truth.
Reflecting the Hopi belief, the Hermetic principle of rhythm, everything flows in and out, suggests that the current phase of rapid change is part of a larger rhythm of the universe. While it feels intense now, understanding this principle can help us maintain perspective.
The biology now is reflected in the archaeology of our past. This is fascinating to me.
The principles of rhythm and flow are essential for navigating change. In this context arises entropy, a central concept in thermodynamics that refers to the measure of disorder or randomness in a system. Simply put, the entropy of a system tends to increase over time, leading to greater disorder. This is formalized by the second law of thermodynamics, which states that in an isolated system, entropy never decreases. This law implies that there is a preferred direction for the flow of time, often called the arrow of time, associated with the increase of disorder. Entropy, a fundamental concept in thermodynamics, further explains this phenomenon.
Let me say it again. The biology of this discovery is reflected in the archaeology of our past. Here's what I mean by that. The biology is telling us that we live in this world of cooperation and mutual aid where conflict may occur sometimes.